All right, we are here with Joby Clark today. Joby, can you tell me a little bit about your background and where you grew up?
Yeah, man. I grew up in a little tiny small town in northwestern Oklahoma of about 450 people. And there's more cows than people. There's not a lot going on. But we were a sports town in the sake that high school baseball was always a really big thing here. So I grew up being a really big baseball fan and being really big into baseball.
Okay. So I guess that's part of your childhood hobbies and activities. Did you do anything else besides baseball during your childhood?
Man, to be honest with you, I was so dedicated to baseball. I remember when I was about 12, my dad bought me this hitting machine. Me and my dad used to always go to the batting cages. He would always feed balls through the pitching machine to me. And then when I got a little older, he bought me this hitting machine. I still remember it to this day. It was called a power hitter. And bro, it was like um it's kind of hard to explain. It was like this metal piece, a metal bar with the metal bar that hung off of it, and at the end of that metal bar was a what is it called? A ball bearing, and there was a ball hanging on a rope. So when you hit the ball, it would spin over and over and over and over. And I got so good at it, I could hit it while I was spinning. So
Oh,
like I would hit it, it would spin, and I'd hit it while I was spinning.
is it kind of like
Like
one of those things like you would tie around a basketball goal with the baseball on the end?
yeah, it was like that, but it was like one that stood up on its own. It had a big metal like steel base on it, and it had these big long nails that you hammered into the ground. It
Okay,
probably weighed 300 pounds. It was pretty big. But
okay.
once I got that thing, man, I was so dedicated to baseball. I remember in the summertime, I'd spend 4 or 5 hours a day listening to Tom Petty cassette tapes with my batting gloves on, just hammering away at this thing because I had the drive to be the best. I wanted to be the best at it. And at one time, as far as my age group and stuff went, I was probably one of the best little kids you would have found around. And yeah, I mean, but I think I worked so hard at it at such a young age that eventually my love for it died because I had dedicated so much to it that it just wasn't fun no more.
Gotcha. So I heard you mention your dad. Did you have any role models or mentors that influenced you when you were growing up?
Man, my role model, honestly, my role model when I was really young was my uncle. He was a jockey, and so when I was really little growing up, believe it or not, I wanted to be a jockey. Can't imagine that now. Almost 6 foot tall and I weigh like 260 pounds. I don't know what I'd be jockeying unless it was an elephant or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was him. And then when I got a little bit older, when I was probably 7 or 8 or so, there was a kid from a high school about 40 minutes from me over here, a little bitty town, the same size as my town, Class B, little bitty school. Uh, he got drafted, or he got a full ride to Oklahoma State University. I watched him play there once or twice, and then he got drafted to the pros. And he was like the first kid from our area that I had seen play in high school because my dad used to umpire the high school baseball games here. So I used to go to all the high school games, watch my dad umpire, and I'd see that kid, come here and play a lot. And then to see him make the pros, it just, being a small kid from the middle of nowhere, it gave you a glimmer of hope that, well, damn, if he can do it, maybe we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So probably my uncle and his name is Monty Ferris, if you want to look him up.
Okay.
He
Um,
got drafted to the Florida Marlins when they had their inaugural draft when they became a brand new team.
oh, really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did he have any important life lessons for you while he was kind of your mentor when you were a kid?
Well, I mean, he wasn't really my mentor. He was just someone I looked up to. And every time I seen the guy, he always had time for me. When I would see him and I'd ask him for an autograph or, you know, he'd come back around and he'd be driving his nice Corvette or whatever because he used to come back and watch. his small town team play. Even after he had went to the pros, he would still show back up and watch games.
That's pretty
You
cool.
know, and we'd stop him and ask for autographs and ask to talk to him, and he always had time for us. You know, so he just became someone that we all aspired to be because we seen him on TV. We knew he made it, you know, and he made it from the same exact circumstances we're trying to make it from.
Yeah. So
So he just go ahead.
you think he kind of stayed true to his roots?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He his career didn't pan out to be all that great, but hey, he made it and he got a paycheck and he was there for, you know, he made a career of it. He was probably there 10 or more years.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, he made it, man. What can you say? He might not have
Yeah.
been an all-star, he might not have been an MVP, he might not have been any of that, but he made it. Like he lived his dream. You know what I'm
Yeah, he
saying?
made it to the bigs. Yeah.
Yeah, he made it. Most people can't say that. So,
Now fast forwarding a little bit, what'd you do after high school?
man, after high school, I worked a lot of hard manual labor, physically taxing jobs and did music on the side, making country rap music. Started out making regular hip hop music, then I started making rock rap, and then eventually we ended up making country rap music. Um and I did that, I don't know, probably 20 years. I had a 3 or 4 year span there where I was getting to travel state to state, getting paid to do shows, was selling probably a little over $3,000 a month just in t-shirts on my website. Um, you know, things were going good there for a minute, but it's hard, man. It's such hard work, and it's really not a sustainable lifestyle, especially when you got kids in a
Yeah.
girl home and you're trying to hold a home front together, you know.
Yeah. What was the
So, but I'm
what was your I guess stage name?
Louisiana Jones.
Okay. Okay.
It's Cleezyana Jones.
Where did
And I've actually my greatest accolade, bro, probably honestly is, well, I don't know about my greatest accolade, but I have a song with Jelly Roll, and I'm pretty proud of that because me and him, uh, we were real good personal friends at one time before he ended up owing a bunch of my people money. But that's another story for another day. Um, but that's probably my biggest accolade is having a song with him, you know, because people they think, you know, he's such a huge star and this, that, and the other. And it's like, man, I remember sitting backstage in green rooms with that guy for hours at a time eating cheap Pizza Hut pizza that was catered by the venue, and
yeah,
there wasn't but 100 people in the stands. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
What was the song you did with them?
it's called "I Don't Dance."
I don't dance. Okay.
It's
When
on
did that come
iTunes,
out?
Spotify, YouTube. It's just a song about drinking, you know, because there's too many songs about dancing. So I made a song about drinking
There you go. There you go.
instead of dancing.
Now so now you're in a I understand you're in school for sportscasting at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. So what prompted you to make that transition into sports broadcasting?
Well, to be honest with you, when I first started doing music stuff back when I was 19 years old, so that's been a while. That's been a minute ago, about 22 years ago, when I started music stuff and started really getting into it. I had looked into going to Full Sail for music production, but when I looked into it, I was actually gonna move to Winter Park and live on campus and go to school there and do the music production side of it. My parents had already told me they were cool with it. They had already told me they'd help me pay my bills and stay there and everything. And then for whatever reason, I just never, you know, I talked to Full Sail. We had talked about it. They basically told me I could get student loans and everything, grants and everything I needed to get it paid for and stuff. And then I just never followed through with it, man. So yeah, you know, now all these years later, the music stuff is over with, and I'm thinking, what is it besides music that I really enjoyed and I really liked and I care about that I can actually get up every day and say, I can go to work and that's something I care about. Like I care to be there that day. I care to even take part in the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even remember where I was going with that now, David.
No, that's okay. That's okay. you know, I mean, like, how do you think, your personal experiences throughout, like, your early childhood through, your teenage years and early adulthood, how do you think those experiences and that background, informed your approach to sportscasting where you are now?
Oh man, just so many I spent a lot of time working in a correctional setting, whether it would be in private prisons, state prisons, county jails, uh 15 plus years working in that setting. You learn real fast how to read people. You learn real fast how to talk to people. You learn real fast how to show respect as well as earn it, because if you don't, you don't make it.
Gotcha.
And what I mean by don't make it is it could be a slew of things, from being assaulted to being stabbed to simply being beat up or given such a hard time by inmates that you quit your job because they don't want you there. They'll get rid of you, whether
Yeah.
they got to stab you, beat you, what, you know what I'm saying, whatever.
Yeah.
So I learned to read people really well, and I learned to communicate really well with people. And I learned that different people have to be communicated with in different ways. And I told my friend one time, and it's probably a terrible thing to say, but some people understand if you sit them down and you say, "Hey, look, you're doing wrong. This is what you should be doing. Please do it this way." And other people, you literally got to slap them in the mouth because all they've ever been taught or known or understood their whole life is violence.
Mhm.
Some people don't understand words. Some people don't understand sitting down to just have a conversation. Some people, all they know is physicality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just learn to deal with all those different aspects of people. And I feel like it gives me an outlook on the audience that an average person couldn't have
Mhm.
because they haven't dealt with as many personalities, both good and bad.
Mhm.
I've sat down with a guy that, whose grandma just died, and I'm consoling him in the prison, to sitting down with the guy asking him if he beat his cellmate to death, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like all those things just kind of shape your mindset and who you are and how you communicate. And it makes you learn to not take things for granted too. You learn to appreciate things. And I love this schooling, man. I love the things I'm learning. I love the field already. I love the people that I've met in my programs. I love my instructors. I just love the knowledge that I'm gaining, man. And I'm to the point where I know I got a long ways to go. I'm not quite a junior yet, but I'm hungry to just get out there and do it, man. Like I'm so ready to just do it. I know I got to do everything else I got to do, and I got to finish up and you know, tie up the bows on the ends and all that stuff. But I'm ready to get out there and make it happen, man.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of interesting insights that you shared with us today. I thank you for your time, Joby. Um, so is there anything else you wanna close this out with?
Nah, I just appreciate your time in interviewing me today, David, and I wish you the best in your studies at Full Sail. And as always, you're always welcome to bounce ideas and work and theories and anything else you got off of me, man. You're my schoolwork homie. So,
I appreciate that, man. I enjoyed talking to you.
all right, David, I appreciate you, man.